Hello, my friend. Welcome to live chat. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Jen. Welcome to our community weekly live chat that we do every Sunday, usually at 10 a.m. Eastern, sometimes at 5 p.m. Eastern. And I let you know what the schedule is as soon as I know it. Today, we are going to be talking about gender roles in makeup. And this was inspired by actually the video I put up on Friday because I did a video where I focused on posts from Reddit. And I went to just the Reddit website, just the main homepage, and I found the popular topics of the week. And I put on makeup and we talked about them. And the people that watched that video freaking loved it. Like, go to the comments of that video. Like, I am just so excited because I had a lot of fun filming it. So I am very excited to film another one of those eventually, maybe like do like once a month or something. It was great. Anyway, the how I decided to do this one is I went to Reddit and I searched the term makeup, and it seemed like, and I feel like the more I learn about Reddit as a site, it just seems like a place where people are just trying to find community, trying to find validation, trying to find their people, trying to find people that understand them. And when you search for makeup, you find a lot of people that are looking for constructive criticism on their looks, people that are looking for product recommendations, people that don't feel accepted in their space and want a place to feel accepted. And that's kind of where the topic for today's chat came from, is that I found a lot of people of different. Why is my dog growling? I don't know if you can hear her. What is happening? But I found, sorry about that. I found a lot of people who were in, they were not cis women. We're not people that were born female, that were that you would look at them and you would say, "Oh, wait, see, let me rewind." The topic of gender is very difficult to speak about because there's a lot of things we're learning about people and gender. And um, so when I talk about it, I'm going to try to use the most appropriate language possible. If so I might flub up, but I'm hoping that I don't. So anyway, my point is that people like men wearing makeup, people that are men, that are born men, that are, or even, hold on a minute, rewind, Jen. I'm having issues. Okay, so rewind. People that when you go into society and you look at them and you say that is a traditionally a man, that's somebody that it should not be wearing makeup. When those people go into society and they're seen with makeup, that they're not accepted as having wearing makeup. So they go to Reddit and look for community. So the first story is going to be talking about that and kind of how we haven't come very far. We've come a long way, but then at the same time, we haven't when it comes to everybody being allowed to wear makeup, because that's what I personally believe. I feel like if you are a human being who wants to wear makeup, you should be allowed to wear makeup, period. Full stop. Doesn't matter what gender you are, period. So that's kind of where this topic came from. But before we get it, oh, go on. Hold on a second. So then beyond that, I do have a couple of other topics I want to talk about. There's some other things that I found on Reddit that I thought were really interesting. So, without flubbing anymore, let's go ahead and get into saying hello to the people that are here live in the collective brain of makeup awesomeness. And these are the people that are here in live chat. And that is what makes live chat special, is that the people that are here really add to the conversation and make it amazing. So, hello to Liz. So good to see you. Hi, Teresa and the rest of the moderators. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And Thriving and Beyond, thank you for being here, Leslie. Sorojan, hello. Good morning to you. Good morning, Elizabeth. Good morning to Kim. I hope you're feeling better after last week. Yes, my only thing this week is I am tired because I just had a really busy week. So other than that, I'm good. Last week we had a breakfast burrito incident where it was, I had a cursed stomach ache the entire chat, but I am much better. Thank you so much for asking. We are good now. Makeup Happiness, so good to see you. Misty, so good to see you. Good morning. Happy to be here. I almost never wake up early enough for Sunday mornings. Well, I am happy to have you here. Mel, good morning to you. And Andrea, good morning. Happy to be here and happy to be alive. Amen to that. Just got out of the hospital last week. Oh my gosh. I had a terrible infection in my knee, but I'm getting better every day. I'm so glad that you are feeling better. If I did not say good morning to you, good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So let's go ahead and pop in to the first post that I had found. Actually, before I do that, let me unclick because I forgot to unclick. This is a live chat, so it is unedited, as you can see already. And let's jump in. Okay, so topic one, here we go. Okay, so this one right here, actually, okay, so I built myself up to talk about this one, which was topic two. So let's just go into that one first. So this says, I got disowned by an entire branch of my family for wearing makeup, and after a week of crying and self-doubt, I'm kind of over it. And like the first thing I noticed when I looked at him, and he does use he, him pronouns, I looked at him and I was like, wow, that is a nice blend. Like, holy crap, like, that is gorgeous, like, my gosh. But there is still a lot of, stigma against men like him wearing makeup, and I felt like at one point, and I don't know if you feel this way, that we were kind of growing out of that, when the beauty space was inundated with, all kinds of people, that were at the top of the beauty space, especially men. A lot of the men were really, really doing well. James Charles and Manny MUA. There were so many men that were doing well. I wouldn't say so many men, but there was a handful of men that were really doing very well in the beauty space, and it seemed like there was more acceptance. You would see them in the media. James Charles becoming the first cover boy for CoverGirl, things like that, and it felt like we were really making progress. But it seems like over the past couple of years that it's we're seeing more things like this where this man can't go out with makeup on and like, well, it's this is more about his family. His family has the entire branch of his family has disowned him. And it's like, it's like if you love somebody, does it really matter if they don't follow traditional gender roles? Does it really matter? And it screams conditional love, and it's so sad. It's so sad. And he says straight up, that he's kind of over it. Like he's starting to try to move past it. And it just makes me sad for him that he had to go through that just because he wants to play with color on his face. It's just, and then you think about, in societies past, you think about, Egyptian society and things like that, where, black eyeliner was like a strength of a sign of power, and in different societies all over the world, makeup has been seen on men as being an extremely positive thing. And I get that we're not there yet, but it's like, when are we going to move that direction? That's my question. I'm really hoping that we can move in that direction. So let me go ahead and click on some comments. Hi, Angie. So good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. If you do not know Angie Newquist, definitely go over and check out her YouTube channel. I don't know how you don't know her already. But if you don't and you haven't watched her channel, don't miss out any longer. Go check out her YouTube channel. I'm sure Angie appreciates his blend too, because that is right up her alley. Let's see. Okay. Okay. I am Finley says, I was a boy in makeup for years, realizing I was just an egg. I cracked my egg at 37. I'm now 39 as a proud trans woman. Yay! As you should be. As you should be. Oh, Finley, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic. Palamundo says makeup is for anyone, regardless of how they identify men, women, trans women, non binary persons. Hope that's helped with some language tips. Yes. And if you do not know, my oldest is non binary. So they have really been helping me so much with my language. But as a 44-year-old person, I feel like the longer you're alive and doing something and practicing a certain practice, it's harder to break that. And that's not an excuse, it's just a progress thing. And I think that, if you are, because I get this a lot when I go to make a dentist appointment at our new dentist for my non-binary child, the people who work there look at me and they're like, I tell them that my child is non-binary and they give me this look of fear. And the fear is that they will mess up the pronouns. The fear is that they will offend my child. It's not that they're afraid of my child, they're afraid of messing up. And I think as a society, we just have to keep trying our best. And like my intro, how badly I flubbed what I was trying to say, I think that, as long as, in my opinion, as long when it comes to my child, and when it comes to their opinion, what they've told me, as long as someone is trying, as long as someone is putting in their best effort, that is what they feel to be important. And I feel like a lot of people do feel that way. Maybe not everybody, but I think a lot of people do feel that way. So it's just a matter of getting the right words at the right time out of your mouth in an articulate way. Sometimes is quite difficult. When I'm on Twitter, I've gotten so much better because I can type it and like edit, but in a live chat, it's a little more difficult. Yes, Makeup or Breakup blog says men have worn eyeliners forever, way before Johnny Depp. Oh, because people were talking about Johnny Depp wearing eye makeup. Yeah, I mean, you think about in the 70s and 80s, just rock bands, just as one example. Um, so many men wearing makeup. Finley says, I think the conservative mindset has taken a chokehold on what they think is right, and we are reverting back to a sort of Victorian era again. It's sad, and I think that it's just I don't understand. Yeah, conditional love equals control, and I think that that's a big piece of it. And I don't want to get too political on it because not everybody who is conservative would be against trans people or against men wearing makeup. So I don't like to speak in broad generalizations because everybody is different. But I do think that it is important for people to just let people be who they want to be and who they are, and if they want to experiment with wearing makeup, they should have that right. They're not hurting anybody, you know? Um, and that judgment really bothers me, like a lot. Yeah, back in the '80s, Teresa says Duran Duran wore eyeliner. Exactly. Mary says cute musician in the '80s, 100%. Sorojan says my son is very traditionally masculine, but he still wanted to play with nail polish, mascara, etc. I said, go for it, kiddo. Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like there are still a lot of families that are not doing that, that are not as accepting. Um, yeah, Siri says people makeup being reserved for women is relatively modern concept in the Western world, but as usual, we're supposed to accept this as an irreversible rule. People should read more books and mind their P's and Q's. Yeah, mind your business. Mind your business. I wanted to add something to that I think it I was upset with myself that it caught me off guard. So where's the second? Here it is. This was the second post. This is by the same person. So it was this person. This is his response. He says, I really can't thank people enough for their kind words. I went through a rough week debating if I should delete my social media, if I should suppress myself. The thought alone filled me with so much dread. I thought there was no price high enough to stop me from living as myself. They asked how I was going to find a wife. They said, people will think you are gay. And I said, I would take it as a damn compliment. I just want to be happy. And I think that a lot of times we automatically think that a man wearing makeup means that they are gay. And I think that's another thing we need to beat out of our head because he's saying here that he is not gay, but he takes it as a compliment if someone thinks he is gay. Which I think is fabulous. But I think that's another thing is taking that stereotype out of our heads and saying, just because you see a man wearing makeup doesn't mean they're automatically gay. And if they are, who cares? Like, why do we care who somebody sleeps with? You know what I mean? Or who somebody's attracted to is really what it is, because it doesn't necessarily have to do with sex. It's about who you are attracted to, which very often leads to sex, but it's all being, whatever, sexual orientation you have, it's about who you are attracted to first and foremost. And I think we need to beat that out of our society. That's my opinion. Yeah, Makeup or Breakup blog says the backlash is people are tired of explaining themselves and don't want the burden of educating others. In other words, just figure it out and just know it. Yeah, and I do not blame people for being tired of explaining themselves. Absolutely. Do not blame people at all. Not at all. I mean, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I see it with my kid, and they've only come out as non-binary for a little over a year. And it's like if they're, 14 and exhausted after a year, it's like, I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine. Ash Flake from Pokemon says, I'm transmasculine and I love makeup for self expression, but it can be a big trigger for dysphoria. I wish makeup wasn't so gendered so that we could be more free to express ourselves how we wish. Yes. Oh, I love that so much. I love that so much. And I know I'm going to get comments from people that are like, you're so woke and all this. Can we stop making woke be a bad thing? Like, can we just understand that we just need to respect each other as human beings? Like, I hate that with my whole soul. It's like, why can't we just look as a society and just be like, you know what? It's not my business whether you want to wear makeup or not. It's not my business who you sleep with. It's my business if you are hurting me. If you are, so it bothers me so much. It bothers me so much. Like so many things bother me these days. So many things bother me. Liz says, I found myself using the wrong pronoun with my sister's children too, but the more you use correct pronouns, the easier it is. I agree with that 100%. Make an effort because it what makes them happy and I love them. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, is it really that hard? Is it really that hard if it's going to help somebody that you love feel happy? Like, what are all the things that we do and sacrifice for people that we love all the time? Like, is it really that hard to just respect someone's name and their pronouns? Really? But it is. It really is for some people, and I'm so glad that this man is feeling better, and I have a feeling he's gonna be hurt for a long time because of the way his family's treated him, but it sounds like he's doing a little bit better, and I'm so glad that he at least has the support of people. This has a lot of responses of people that are, accepting and understand. So all right, let's go ahead and move to the other topic, which I feel like is a little less deep, but it's the same kind of thread, but I want to see what you have to say. Okay, so this is an AITA or am I the asshole? Okay, so someone, they go onto Reddit and they want to know if they're a jerk. Okay. So this is AITA for telling my son that he can't have a 50-pound makeup palette. So I think that's about $80 USD, something like that. Conversion in my head, not sure if it's accurate. All right. So the person writing this is 37 years old. She's a female. Son, about $60. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wow, that's changed, I think. All right. Thank you, John. My son, who's 14 and male, recently came out as bisexual. I would like to say that I have absolutely no problem with the LGBTQIA plus community and support him 110%. Since he has come out, my son has been asking me for makeup such as a 7-pound eyeshadow palettes and 13-pound lipsticks. I've bought these for him to practice with as they were quite cheap. The other day, my son asked for a specific palette that cost around 50 pounds. I was hesitant as this is a lot of money and he's still learning. I told him that I didn't want to buy him the palette as it was expensive and that he should try saving up for it himself. He gets 15 pounds a month pocket money. He started yelling at me that I just didn't want my son to look like a girl and wasn't accepting him in his identity. I have never said this nor implied it. He stormed upstairs and has been avoiding me since. My husband has said that I should just buy him the palette just to stop the drama. I don't want to buy such an expensive palette just to save face, but I also want my son to know that I accept him. Am I the asshole? Edit, he gets paid 15 pounds without doing chores and earns an extra 15 for doing chores. This is a parenting thing for me. And to me, it sounds like this is a typical 14-year-old behavior of trying to manipulate their parents. That they know, that he knows, because his pronouns sound like they're he, him. It sounds like he knows how to manipulate his mother. And he knows how important it is that his mother is able to support him in who he is. So he is trying to manipulate her into buying him what he wants. That this really doesn't sound like, because she has bought him makeup in the past. She has bought him the things that he's wanted. And there's no reason why he can't save up for it himself. He has the ability to do that. It'd be one thing if he didn't have access to money in order to buy things, if there wasn't a way for him to save up for things. I feel like this is a parenting issue rather than her not being supportive. I don't think that she's the asshole. I don't. I think as a parent, you do have to crack down on not spoiling your child. And based on the father's response, it sounds like they have spoiled him in the past by just buying him to appease him, which I don't think is a good parenting choice, in my opinion. But I don't blame this teenager for trying to manipulate his parents. That's what 14-year-old children do. That's part of them learning about society and the world and all of that. And I think this is a good learning opportunity as a parent and as a child, as a teenager, to have that conversation about manipulation and about, and just straight up, I mean, this is a way that I personally choose to parent, is if I feel like my children are trying to manipulate me, I wait until it calms down. I wait until the tensions are low. And then I have a calm conversation and I say, look, this is what's happening, you know, and I do not want to spoil you as a parent. That would be bad parenting to spoil you. So there, and also it's a life skill to have to earn money, learn how to budget that money and spend it on things that you want. So that's just my opinion. Hi. Oh, my lights are blinking again. These lights, I swear. Thank you, babe, for trying to fix it. I appreciate you. Sometimes he can fix it, sometimes he can't. Let's see what you all are saying. Yeah, Angie says, I feel like a big problem in our society is that gender roles are too narrow so that a lot of people find themselves not fitting in. 100% agree. It's okay. You can knock stuff over. It's all good. It is what it is. It's just, Tom Ford perfume. It's all good.
Yeah, speaking of gender roles, I got my pink on. All right.
You're going to get people to join the chat if you come in here. You're just going to turn it off? Okay. Yes, but I totally agree, Angie, that that we are too narrow in it, that I wish that there was more wiggle room, Yeah, Darky's Makeup and Science says too many labels trying to fit into boxes. Just exist, be the way you want, and who cares about categorizing yourself? Absolutely. Just be. Just be. Coffee, please. In my opinion, she's absolutely not a jerk. Financial budgets are a part of real life, and her son needs to understand that. Yeah, totally. And explaining, look, this is called manipulation. What you're doing right now is how much I love you. You know that it hurts me for me to, that it hurts me if you would say something like that I'm not supporting you, because you know that I'm supporting you. You know that I love you, and you know that that's a pain point. And all you want is your eyeshadow palette. You don't care right now that you're hurting my feelings. That's not what your priority is. Your priority is at any cost to get what you want, even if that cost is my feelings. And even though I'm your mother, I have feelings, and you're hurting my feelings right now. This action is hurting my feelings. I'm trying to be a good parent. And this is your actions have consequences. You know what I mean? And just having that whole conversation. Yeah, Jana says she's not the jerk, she's parenting. I agree. Yeah, exactly, Sandra. No, you can't give in because he's big mad. And what I learned as a teacher was that it's called extinction behavior. So the more you resist in reinforcing a rule or reinforcing something, if you're trying to extinguish a behavior, the more you hold on, the worse the behavior gets, until the behavior stops. But it'll get worse and worse and worse, and the person will it'll feel like it's not working, but you have to hold on. You can't give in, or else it's going to get to that level of escalation, because then they're going to think that that's the level they have to go to for that level of the behavior is what you have to go to in order to succeed. So if you give in, let's say they start here and escalates, you're holding on, you get here and you just can't take it anymore and you give in. The next time it happens, it's not going to be here. It's going to start here and it's going to escalate further. You know what I'm saying? That's what I learned as a teacher, and I saw it in practice all the time. So it's really, really important, like Sandra is saying, to not give in at this point and explain, look, you have the ability to get this eyeshadow palette. I'm supporting you in you getting this palette. You just need to earn money, your own money, in order to save up for it. That's all. I support you in it. I'm not going to tell you when you have that money that you can't buy it yourself. Therefore, your argument makes no sense. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah, Sandra says if she caves, he'll forever use this to manipulate her. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, I don't blame the child because that is what they're learning at this age. That is normal. That is absolutely normal. Yeah, sunless skincare, glow to go. I love that. I have 3 boys, and you cannot give into that entitlement era. No, you cannot, because it will get worse and worse and worse. And I see it with kids that are my oldest age. I see them, the things that are happening with their parents. I see it. I see it. You can tell the ones that the parents give in and the ones that don't. Heidi says, as a trans woman, my older brother's 10-year-old son has started drama and dance class and wants to collect the limited edition Disney dolls. My brother is not the a-hole. So you're saying it's a similar situation that he's not going to buy him all of the things all of the time. And I think that that's what it is it about the gender roles why you're not doing it, or is it because you're just trying to teach them something that's a life skill for society? All right. So the next one, before we take our little break, is a little bit different, but it's a parenting thing. So this is a young lady. She says, is this a lot of makeup for a day out? I'm 17 and my mom always complains that I put too much on. Also, would you change anything? I don't think that anybody here would say that that's a lot of makeup. I don't think anybody would. And I'm wondering what the story is behind this. Like maybe I don't know. Like, I don't see how maybe just like the lashes are too long for the mother or the mascara is too much, but it's like, really? My mom always complains about it too much on, but if she's 17, I don't know. Okay, when did you start wearing makeup? Because I started wearing makeup at 13. I think I actually started a little bit at 12, wearing a little bit of like lip gloss and stuff like that. But at 13, I was rocking the lower lash line black eyeliner, like I was wearing mascara. I was doing like I had like obvious makeup on. I didn't start wearing foundation until I was I think probably 15, 16. Um but it sounds like that her mom just is very conservative when it comes to makeup. But I don't get this perspective at all that this is too much makeup, like, at all. I don't know. But it's like, why if makeup is a way that our children are expressing themselves and it's not hurting them, it's not hurting anybody else, I don't understand why it's an issue. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, Sorojan says some moms are uptight. My peers and I were part of the color revolution of the 90s, though. Yeah. Hi, Sophie. Sophie says my parents and school wouldn't let me wear makeup. I use black pen as lip liner, and every time would get detention. Oh no. I remember when I was teaching, there was a young lady in 4th grade that wore a lot of makeup. A lot meaning she wore foundation, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, like colored lipstick, and she was 9. Um, and that was frowned upon at my school. But my administration was very strict about it's not our place. It's not our place to tell her she can't wear makeup. Um, that's a parenting choice. That's not our space as a school to get involved in that. That's not our business. Like, is she learning? Yeah. Okay. Leave her alone. Would I let my 9-year-old wear a full face of makeup? I don't know. I think I would have to talk to them about why they want to. But if it's artistic expression, like it's like, why not? Like if they're just trying to attract boys as a 9-year-old, I would wonder, I'd want to have a conversation about healthy relationships with boys if that was a thing. But Hi, Heba. Heba says, OMG, I saw this post a while back and the comments were so different. Some people said it's too much and some said it's okay. I started wearing makeup and lip gloss back and black coal at 12 to 13, maybe. Yes. And I did read a little bit of the comments and some people were saying that it's too much. I think this came out like a month ago because I just searched for it as a general thing. And I just don't see how that's too much. I don't at all. Like, how? How? All she has a little bit on her lashes and she's got a little bit on her lids. And as a 17-year-old, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get that one at all. Yeah, Michelle says I wore liner around 13 and foundation around 14. Excuse me, eyeshadow around maybe 15. Oh, Samantha says that their 13-year-old went goth, black smoky eyes, black lipstick, and nail polish. Hey, it's all good. Barbara says, I was blessed with a mom who took me to get good skincare and foundation Clinique to start my makeup adventures back in the day. Oh, that's so nice. I love that. All right. So it is currently the halfway point. Yeah, I am Finley says she's practically barefaced. I know, right? All right. So it is the halfway point. So let's take a little bit of a break and let's talk about what's on my face today. So I'm very excited about my eyeshadow today. Very excited. Nope. John just reminded me that I needed to do something really quick. But I will tell you that I'm very proud of my eyeshadow today. And today I use the Cinderella palette by Sigma. Very, very excited about this. Let me do this little thing that I have to do real quick. So pause. It'll only take me a second. I did not do the thing. I didn't turn on slow chat, which is something that I typically do. So let me do that real quick. Let's save that piece. And then so I apologize if, because there won't be automatic captions on this because I forgot to do it before chat started. So we should be good now. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. This was sent to me by Sigma and I freaking love this palette. Look at this. So I use the purples and then I use this blue on my lower lash line. Loving that. I also use this on the inner corner on my upper lid and this on the inner corner of my lower lid. And then, yeah, did I use any of the browns? No, I didn't. But the browns are great too. I use a little bit of this on my lower lash line too, just on the outer corner. And I love this look so much. I'm so happy with it. On my cheeks today, these were also PR from Makeup by Mario. I have the light medium bronzer and the earthy pink shade of blush. These blend out really nicely with the Beauty Blender, by the way. And then for lips, I believe this was purchased, but it's been a while. This is M Cosmetics liquid lipstick, and I cannot read the shade. Born something? No, it's upside down. Something nude. Rose nude. There we go. I did it. Give me 5 years. I won't be able to read that anymore. But I believe this was purchased. And then this was PR. This is by Essence. This is their Extreme Shine Volume Lipstick. Lip gloss. Lip gloss. I just put that on over top. But this is a fantastic formula. I love it. All right. So that is what was on my face today. Let's go into the next topic. So topic 4. Okay. Oh, so I meant to do a little bit later, but that's okay. Here we go. Women who wear makeup, what is the biggest makeup tip you can give? So this kind of I was like, okay. It's like, but why does it have to be women who wear makeup? Why can't it be people who wear makeup? Because women are the ones who traditionally wear makeup. But why can't we make it people who wear makeup? Are men not allowed to contribute? Is that what's happening? You know what I mean? It's come on. She probably just typed it really fast. You know what I mean? And didn't even think about it. Or maybe it's just not part of her, her thinking, as far as the way that she speaks. I don't know. But I just was like, oh, are men not allowed to contribute? Because if I was a man in makeup, I would be like, all right, I guess I'm not participating in that. I'm not going to help her out. And she's probably going to miss out on a lot of really good tips, which is sad. But I did click on some of the tips because I think that they're interesting and I wanted to talk about those. So the first one that had the most comments was good skincare and prep beforehand. And I do think that that's important, especially hydrating your skin and trying to get rid of dry spots. I feel like the dry spots are the devil when it comes to like a base. I feel like that's really, really difficult. So anything you can do to get rid of dry patches, I think will make application so much easier. And as far as like, I don't know as much about oily skin, but I would imagine it's similar, using some blotting or whatever to try to get rid of excess oil before you get started, I think is important as far as getting the base going. Next one was don't overdo your makeup to make it look like the Instagram makeup influencers. They have their camera lighting and you have reality lighting. And I think that's so important. And it took me a while when I started doing this to realize that doing the full face of makeup the way I did for videos looked kind of weird when I would wear the same makeup out. It looked kind of odd on me. I didn't like it as much as I liked it on camera. And if you wear a full Instagram beat out, I think you should. I think you absolutely should. You love the way you look and you are confident and happy and feeling good about a full Instagram beat, you should totally do it. But I think that the point of this post, not that one, of this one is to feel and not pressure people to feel like they have to wear that much makeup if you don't want to. Like to start light and build up to where you like it, not feel like that has to be your regular just because that's what you're seeing on Instagram. And I think that's a really important message if you're just starting and you're needing tips. Next one, for me, less is more. I use it to enhance my features, not do a full face. And that's something that I'm actually still working on is accepting that I don't need to do a full face all the time. I can, just do my brows and one eyeshadow shade. Like it doesn't always have to be a full face unless you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. Let me see what you all are saying because I think the next comment under there was a little bit different. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's just go into because people are already saying it. And then the last one, let's just do the last one. I think there's yes, here we go. Blend, blend, blend. It can really make all the difference. You can buy the best makeup, best brushes, have the best mirror, but if you don't blend your product, well, it will not look good. And this has been my biggest problem over the years as far as getting a good makeup look is that I am impatient. I am not somebody that wants to spend the extra 30 seconds to a minute blending. It's like it looks good enough. I'm just going to keep going. And I feel like that's where a lot of my makeup looks fall short is the lack of blending and making sure that I take that extra time and just don't be like, oh, okay, it's good enough, you know? And I think that's fantastic advice. Like today, I did spend some extra time blending and I feel like it made a big difference. And I think it takes experience and practice to know how to blend and how much to blend. So it's not just about blending, it's about knowing how those colors move on the face and how and what level of opacity you like and also the products you're working with. Sometimes if you overblend, those products will blend away. So it's a delicate balance with some products. But yeah, I think that that's fantastic advice as far as like the blending goes, because I know that that has been a significant weakness in my makeup game for a long time that I'm still working on to this day to not be lazy, not lazy, but not be as particular and just say it looks good enough and move on, if you really want it to look good. All right. And then the last one, practice. Keep practicing. Remember that your face is different from everyone else's. So, what one person swears by or says as a rule may not work for you. This applies to techniques, products, everything. Take the bits that work for you and that you like and practice, experiment, and have fun. And don't go straight for the trendy, expensive just because everyone on YouTube is talking about it this week doesn't actually mean it's worth blowing half your pay on it. I love that comment to my very soul. There's so much in there to unpack, and I love it all. So, first off, practicing, absolutely. But remembering that your face is different from everyone else's. And that is the biggest thing that I see in my comment section when people are saying that a product didn't work for them. They say, I watched so and so's video and, they raved about this product. And then when I got it, it didn't work for me. And then they say that they have a different skin type or a different, if it's talking about, a foundation shade or something, not foundation, but like a blush shade, if you have a different skin tone, then some blushes work differently, and even eyeshadow, lip colors, depending on your skin tone, it's going to look a little bit different. So it's difficult to fully take YouTube and Instagram as recommendations for buying products because our faces are so different from each other and techniques. That was, I think, one of the things that really brought down tutorials is that we got tired of seeing the application and we realized that the application techniques that people were using in these tutorials didn't necessarily work for us. They didn't necessarily look good. And the big one that like they were talking about trends, the big one that stands out to me is when block brows were really big. I tried so hard. I remember watching tutorials and tutorials because I was getting comments about how I wasn't doing the block brow trend and my brows didn't look good. And I was trying and trying and trying. And I feel like every time I use the ABH brow pomade, my eyebrows look like crap. They looked so bad. And I just don't think that trend looked good on me. And I think a lot of us were doing that trend that it just didn't look good on our faces. It just didn't. Some people rocked it and still rock it. And it looks amazing, but I don't think it looks great on everybody. But I feel like during that time, we all felt, at least I felt very pressured to do block brows, even though I hated the way that it looked on me. So I ended up just abandoning it. I ended up just throwing away my pomade because it just, well, actually, yeah, I ended up decluttering it, well, throwing it away eventually because it went bad, but I stopped using it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going back to my pencil. I like my pencil. I don't care about the comments anymore. I'm just going to do what I like. And now that more bushy brows are trendy, I'm like, yes, and really happy about that. And also, I love this comment about don't go straight for the trendy, expensive stuff. Just because everyone on YouTube is talking about it doesn't mean you need to blow half your pay on it. And I think that was where a lot of us, including me, were back in 2014, 2015, 2016. And maybe some people are there now that are joining the beauty space now where you don't realize how much is being released every single week and how fast trends change, and we start just getting this massive collection, and it's like I could have used that money for something else, but I followed the trend or I bought the product that everyone was raving about, and it's like, did I really need that? No. And then you have regret. All right, let's see what the community's saying. So much. Hi, D. D says, I didn't like the block brows and I looked awful if I tried. I prefer a nice natural brow. Me too. Samantha says, bring back the skinny brow. And April agrees. I don't know. I don't think I want to do the skinny brow. I don't know. I like my brows the way they are. I just want to keep it because I'm selfish and I want it to be like what I like. Elizabeth says, black brows look fine on me, but I feel so much more myself and prettier with a more natural brow. Yeah, totally. Finley says, I realized my old hooded eyes can't do a wing liner. I found a way to fake it, but an actual wing, no, girl. Know your makeup limits and don't force a trend. Love that advice. Absolutely. And what I've told people is to just, if you want to do a wing, just make it so tiny at first, so tiny, and see if you like it. And start there. It doesn't have to be this big Amy Winehouse wing. It doesn't have to be. Go where you're comfortable. And if you don't like it, just don't do it, like Finley's saying. Absolutely. JK says, until a couple of years ago, I just didn't do brows because my brows were nice and full. Now, unfortunately, they've thinned. So I have to do some brow work. And I'm in the same place. I never did my brows, not once, until I was in my 30s. Not once. Hi, Afrest. Afrest says, practice is so important. It's hard to tell others how to put on makeup because practice is how best to learn what products and techniques work on your face personally. Absolutely. Sandra says, I kept trying to do my makeup like Jaclyn Hill and Tati, but I looked horrible. And I think that, Sandra, a lot of us got into that, myself included, because of that whole lighting thing. And they look gorgeous. The way that they did makeup and still do makeup in some cases really looks pretty. But when I went to makeup events and I saw some of the people in person with their full beats on, it really didn't look as pretty as it did on camera. Like, honest to God, it did not look as pretty. And I'm not trying to shame anybody at all, but I feel like learning what looks good on camera versus what looks good off camera is a skill. to learn, you know, and then adding on the layer of what looks good on me. Like you can't just copy what someone else is doing. And I'm noticing, like, do you remember when the triangle concealer was really big? I did it where you put the big triangle of concealer here. And I'm pretty sure Jaclyn Hill was where I saw that first. And then you blend it out in the baking and all of that. What I've seen a lot of people do, and I started doing with my concealer, is just a dot here and a dot here. And I don't know who to credit as far as who originally did that. But I've seen a lot of people do it, and I was like, oh, I should start doing that. And then just blending it out, and it gives your eyes kind of a lift. And I really like the way that that looks. I feel it looks so much more flattering on me than like the whole triangle thing. Like really and truly, like I go back to my older videos and I'm like, girl. Oh, oh. Daryl says, I think the most common mistake people use with the ABH brow pomade is you cannot just dip and apply. Please use at least the back of your hand as a palette and pat off most of the excess off the brush. And Daryl, where were you? Where were you when I needed you? Because I absolutely went in full strength. You dip and then you paint that on. Where were you, Daryl? I needed you. You're absolutely right. And I think that we didn't see that happening on camera. That's the thing, is a lot of us, myself included, I keep saying that, but it's true, learned on YouTube, learned how to do makeup techniques on YouTube. And I think that some people may have either cut that out or they weren't doing it themselves. And we just didn't, the people we were watching just weren't doing that. All right. So let's do the last one. The last one is a video. And it's again about gender roles, but it's about skincare routines. I'm just going to show it to you.
Babe. Yeah. Will you bring me my ice roller? I'm feeling a bit puffy.
Isn't that great? I just laughed at that because I feel like, there have been so many gender role stereotypes, not just in makeup, but in skincare, where men were not really, I mean, it was like, use soap on your face, splash your face with water, and then because they didn't have anybody to tell them that you could do more and that it could be a pleasurable experience doing skincare. When he broke out the gua sha, I died. I died. And then when he did the LED mask, like what is even happening? Like I loved that video. I thought that was really cute. And I hope that with skincare and makeup, because I feel like I wanted to kind of leave it on this, even though we have about 13 minutes left. I wanted to make that the last one because I feel like I hope that that's the way things go, that we start encouraging all people to do what makes them happy, whether it is an involved skincare routine that helps them to relax in the end of the evening, or whether it's wearing a full beat out in public, no matter their gender. I think that it's all about, like, I don't understand why our society can't just encourage each other just to do what makes us happy, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do we care? Why are we so big into other people's business? And I think part of it is a feeling of superiority, like that we're better than somebody else because we follow society's rules and they're not following society's rules. And, it's a way to look down on people. I think it's also just people wanting to, I think, identify with community too, when they can look at someone like our first person and they can go to their friends and they can, look at him and be like, oh my gosh, look at that guy, blah, blah, blah. And you can bond with your friends over being cruel, and being intolerant and being, selfish and, and just mean. I think that's part of it. And I think it's just also people not necessarily being exposed. If you haven't ever seen a man in makeup before and you see a man in makeup, then it's going to be shocking for the first time, no matter what you see for the first time. Whenever you see something first time, it's going to catch you off guard, but then it's your choice what you do with that. It's your choice how you choose to judge that person, because we have to be honest with ourselves. We're constantly judging other people around us. It's part of human nature to judge people, but what we do with that judgment is what's important. We can't necessarily control the thoughts in our head, but what we do as far as our actions and how we allow those thoughts to influence our behavior is what's important. Um, and I very strongly believe that. And I think as a society, the more we just come together and say, you know what, like, let people just be themselves, let people do what they feel is best for their own face, their own body, and leave them alone. Just leave people alone. It's not that hard to mind your own business. It's really not. When it comes to things like this, it's really not hard to just mind your own business. Ivania, finding a positive way to point out our beautiful, unique differences. Let love lead your choices. Absolutely. Rennie, bullying others equals society's rules does not make it a good. Oh, hold on a minute. Bullying others equals society's rules does not make it good. Sorry, I'm getting lost in my comprehension. Yes. So maybe we're saying that bullying others. Um, Sorry, I'm losing it. My comprehension is very poor on that. I'm so sorry. I know you have something really. I don't. I'm losing it. I know people afterward are going to explain it to me because I'm losing it. I just don't understand. I'm so sorry. D says my youngest, she's non-binary too, and is only 10, but finds skincare is important. She's outdoors a lot, and I think that is really important because that's just health. Skin health is just health. And encouraging, younger people to use skincare, I think is good. I mean, I don't think that like when my oldest started getting acne, I tried not to make a big deal about it. I tried to just be like, hey, like, you're getting older, and just so you know, I have skincare if you want to start going down that route and you want to start using some skincare. And they were like, yeah, like, what do you got? And I said, well, what are some things that you like or don't like about your skin? And we had a conversation, and then I brought products. It wasn't about, oh my gosh, I see you're getting pimples. You need to do something to take care of that because that looks terrible. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that was what was told to our generation, was that, you've got to put your sea breeze on or else, you're gonna be awful. And I think that's part of the problem with acne acceptance now, is that we were just brought up like that. So I tried really, really hard with that to not make them feel like it was ugly in any way. Just like, hey, you are turning into a teenager. We might want to start talking about doing some skincare. What do you think you want to use? So, we did that. And I think it worked out really well. And sometimes they use their skincare and sometimes they don't. But I mean, every parent has to decide what they think is best for their kids. JK says, my son, who is manly man, does good skincare because he had acne and learned how important it is. Yeah. And I think that, if that's something that makes them uncomfortable having acne, definitely, helping them to do what they can to minimize that is helpful, because you want them to have higher self-esteem. And if that's something that's stopping them from having higher self-esteem, then that's something that should be taken care of, or at least tried to. Darky's Makeup and Science. I'm finding the same people. I love that my husband is finally doing something for his skin. He has psoriasis, and we found the Cosrx Snail Mucin line, and it helps, and their AHA BHA toner. Nice. I love that. Yes. Amy Goss says, you can still change your mindset about your thoughts. Oh, 100%. And I think that's so important. A thought can come into your head that you can't control. But then when you get that thought, it's like, okay, is this a flawed thought? Is this something I need to change my mindset about? MF says, I don't think that right now there are any relevant society rules which should be followed because society is divided into people who are considered appropriate and those who are not. Let's make ours. Yeah. I mean, and I think that some places are more judgmental than others, depending on where you live, as far as what's acceptable and not acceptable in society. And in society, social rules are important. I'm not trying to say we shouldn't have social rules. Social rules are very important, with the way you treat people, the way that what appropriate behavior is in a restaurant or in an Uber or, in a grocery store. Like, you have to have social rules and social norms. But the ones that need to stick are the ones that affect everyone. The ones that like when you walk in the grocery store in the US, you keep your cart on the right. You stop at the intersections, to make sure nobody's coming. I mean, that's just safety, and if we mess with, we say, oh, we need to not have, social rules, or, it's that's not okay. But the ones that don't hurt anybody, that are just about being kind to others, I think that it's really important to just be like, those might not necessarily need to stay. So I don't think that right now there are any relevant society rules which should be followed. Yeah, I mean, I think that you probably weren't thinking in that direction when you when you put that in, but yeah, I mean, I think not pushing what we think is right, for a right way for someone to dress or wear makeup or do their skincare, not pushing that on other people is really important, because it's like, it's not our business. Like, I think that's something we need to ask ourselves when we're making a judgment. Is it my business? Are they hurting anyone? If it's not my business and they're not hurting anyone, let it go. Let it go. Yeah. Patricia says, I think men with makeup and skincare is more widely accepted in other parts of the world. Italian men with their eyeliner is just hot. I will have to look into that. I don't know anything about that. Donna Lee says, makeup is expressive. Leave people alone. Let them set their own standards. F beauty standards. That's how I feel about it. Absolutely. 100%. Totally agree. Oh, Rennie, thank you so much. It was supposed to say it is not necessarily a good rule. This was about men in makeup or any other skin routine. Thank you, Rennie. I'm so sorry. I felt bad. I couldn't get it. Usually I can get it, and I just couldn't get it. So thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for clarifying. I appreciate you. Oh, Dee says, yeah. Jen, I first reached out to you when I saw you asking about including non-binary people when you're saying hello to friends. As a non-binary and married to a trans woman, I was so happy to see you ask. Love you. Oh, love you back. Because I used to go, I used to girlfriend, boyfriend. Like, I used to do that. Like, I used to say, oh my gosh, girlfriend or boyfriend. Like, I used to, and people like that because it was including, any men that were in the audience. But then when I became more aware of non-binary people, it was like, I just stopped doing it, because there was a thing where, you could say and be friends. But then I heard that some people don't like that term. So I just ended up just cutting it out. Like, it just wasn't necessary to continue. It wasn't that important to continue if it was going to make someone feel excluded. So I just cut it out. But Dee, you've helped me so much on my journey. Thank you so much. We've DM'd back and forth on Twitter a bit, and I just really appreciate you, Dee. I appreciate you being there and helping me through my learning times, because learning publicly on the internet is very difficult sometimes. So I appreciate Dee taking the time, because we talked about earlier. This is something we talked about earlier, is when groups are commonly misunderstood or there's a stereotype associated, it gets exhausting trying to explain. And I totally get that, and I don't think anybody owes an explanation, but I appreciate that Dee took time out of their life to help me with that. And I just really appreciate that so much. Yes. Catherine says, on top of that, having acne doesn't mean you're dirty or gross or ugly, and adults having it should be normalized. Yes. And we talked about that in What's Up in Makeup today with Kiki Palmer. If you haven't watched What's Up in Makeup yet, definitely recommend you check that out, because Kiki was great. She did an Instagram post video, and it was wonderful, addressing just that. Oh, we're almost out of time. So I came on a little bit late, so we'll stay on for one more minute. Ben says, my aunt was a lady always in skirt and high heels, and now in her mid-50s, she got a gray buzz cut and wears jeans, combat boots, maxi skirt, and leather jacket, and she has hairy armpits. I love that for her. Do what you want. Like, who cares? Like, it should be about what makes people happy in the end. Yes. Liz says kids now are so lucky to have a wealth of information about makeup and skincare these days. Oh, totally. I mean, I feel like I wish that I had had access to so much. I mean, I just wanted to know why carrots were orange and I couldn't get that information. I remember that specifically. Like we had encyclopedias and I looked it up and I couldn't figure it out. I went to the library and I was looking up and eventually I just got tired of looking for the information because it was like it wasn't worth it anymore. It wasn't worth the effort. I mean, eventually I learned, but I think that sometimes kids I don't think realize how lucky they are to have so much information at their fingertips. If I had known about Sea Breeze back in the day, I probably would have had a lot less acne because I thought using it was going to help me. What I didn't know was it was drying the hell out of my skin and actually causing more acne. But I remember the more acne I got, the more Sea Breeze I would use because I thought it was going to help. But then when it got worse, I just blamed myself. I blamed my hormones. I blamed, whatever was going on in my body and didn't realize that it was the Sea Breeze because the commercial told me it was going to help me. And now we kids will never have to go through that ever again, and kids will never have to be, well, I'm sure they're still demonized for having acne, but, hopefully one day we'll get to the point where we're not demonizing a natural function of the body. Let people be. Let people be. All right. We are at 1 minute after. Thank you so much for being here in live chat. I appreciate you. Next week is going to be at 10 a.m. Once again, I'm looking forward to having a little bit lighter of a week. So hopefully my mental clarity will be a little stronger at the beginning of chat next week. I hope that you have a lovely, lovely week. Thank you to everyone that was here, moderators, people that were here participating. If you're watching this on the replay, you can feel free to participate in the live chat, not live chat, in the comment section down below of your thoughts of anything we talked about today. And mad love to you. Have a wonderful week. And I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye.